The double opt-in email introduction is when someone wants to introduce two people and has the permission of both before doing so. It's common sense, but it doesn't seem to be so common. Hey, it's me, Alexander Jarvis. A founder made an introduction to me at a investment bank in some nebulous fundraising related topic. I didn't really follow, but it didn't appear to be the worst use of 5 minutes, so I was like, why not? Let's just roll with it. Quite quickly, the conversation came to, sorry, I don't really know why we're on this phone call. The irony was the call might have actually been useful had they followed some proper protocol. As it happened, they didn't. And so the opportunity was kind of wasted. What's wrong with people just making introductions to people? Quite a lot. So let's break this down. You don't respect my time. You assume I want to talk to someone, so I'll make the time so you don't look bad. You don't know who I want to meet. We clearly aren't buddies, because if we were, we would have already been chatting on Facebook or WhatsApp or something, and you would just send me a little ping and said, hey Alex, is it cool if I just make an introduction to you to somebody? Right? This kind of makes sense. The bigger the name, the more they ask for intros first. I've noticed a correlation between the bigger the name of a VC or a founder and the propensity to ask for an introduction first. So just by making an introduction on your own volition, you're kind of showing your class. I have to be the bad guy. My options for your bad intro, assuming it is either ignore your email, say I don't want to talk to that person because my kitten has an acrobat class or something, or take a pointless phone call. I can't do other things. If you decide to waste my time, I don't have time to allocate my meetings or calls to people I actually want to meet and have conversations with. Times change. Even if you do know people, you don't always know the current story of what they're up to. For example, what if an VC changes their investment mandate? They go from the on-demand economy to just investing in AI, B2B to B2C. What if your friend's a CEO becomes a CPO and that fundraise you thought that they were doing already closes? Or what if you make an introduction to a VC for a fundraise and that VC's already passed in the deal? That's kind of really awkward, right? Beyond just being annoying, these can also be infuriating. Why? No context. You typically don't explain why you want to talk to people in the first place. And that's for both me and the person who you introduced to. They're not qualified. Often you don't really explain who that person is and what their background is, so I'm left to actually have to Google that person. It's double screw you. Either person may actually opt not to respond to that email. Without proper motivation, that's an equally likely outcome. In both cases, you look bad. The triple screw you. Captain Insano may actually get annoyed that I didn't respond to that email on a timely basis or take that call. Seriously, not my problem, bud. Pressure. It's like you playing a game of Jenga and allowing me to knock the whole thing over if I don't like the game. There's no way that I come out playing your game without 1, me looking bad, 2, calling bullshit on you, or 3, wasting my own time. Thanks. We're definitely not playing Monopoly next. So what does a no opt-in email look like? Hi Alexander, please meet Mary at Twitter. They're playing with ephemeral communication and hope to make it big. She wants to ask you some questions about their business plan and thought you'd like to chat, given your background. Over to you guys. Best, dickhead. No, I don't want to talk about their business plan. The real life Twitter has enough problems to take up my whole year, let alone some little startup. What a what the fuck email looks like. Hi Jarvis, Mary is CC'd on this email and is thinking about doing a startup. You should chat. Like your Facebook posts. Captain Insano! What the very fuck? The rule of proper intros. It's really simple. If you think two people should meet for a specific reason, ask both of them independently if they really want to be connected, and give a specific reason why it is that would be mutually beneficial for them to be connected. Then make an introduction which introduces each party briefly. So what does an opt-in email look like? Hey Alexander, my friend Mary at Twitter is playing with ephemeral communication and hopes to make a really big impact. They've raised $560 million to date. She mentioned she read your blog and wants to ask you some questions about why they need to send a pitch deck before they meet VCs. I know you're interested in social networking and Mary is super connected in the space. It would be great to connect you guys up. So I thought you'd like to chat. Are you happy for me to make an intro? Best, cash money. I pay attention to people who make bad intros. I'm not as demure as some. If I get bad intros, I'll let people know. For more esteemed people, I keep track of the quality of their intros, and at some point just sort of stop taking them. Not everything will work out. I follow the rule of double blind intros, and I have come across it too. There's one friend I make intros to with quality people, but for some reason, shit just keeps on happening. Both people are happy to meet and ask for it, but for some reason, just never actually respond and make that meeting happen. I have no idea why this happens, but it does. Frankly, it's not my fault, and it's a statistical anomaly. In such cases, you just need to be more prudent about making intros till you build up the social capital again. That is, if you want to keep making those intros. There's a couple of circumstances when you don't need to make double opt-in introductions. These are: you're certain on the value. If you bet your life that an introduction is cash money, then off you go. But you need to know someone well enough to make that call. The best example is cash paying customers. Everyone wants to make money. I intro startup founders to lawyers all the time without asking permission. Does that make me a tool? No. I'll tell you why. Firstly, I know if the founders are a waste of time or not. I already talked to them and I know if they got good prospects. Secondly, I know lawyers always want to make money. So why do I care? If you're tight, if you're buddy-buddy with someone, you don't actually have that much to lose by making an introduction. They'll just say, WTF dude, why do you make that intro a couple of times before they actually just say, stop making intros. But they'll still go out for beer with you. But you know them well enough in the first place to know what's wood and what's gold anyway. And let's face it, when you get to a certain point, your friends become more senior, so the intros they make are pretty much always gold. Shit, I'm getting old, aren't I? So when they make introductions, they're pretty much always awesome. Super connectors. There are some people who are turbo connected and are always connecting with people. Sometimes the gold, sometimes the wood. I take these people with a pinch of salt because they're sort of like Babe Ruth. They've got a high strikeout rate, but also a high strike rate. Sure, you think twice about some of these introductions, but a lot of them end up being fairly useful. And let's face it, that guy is kind of a pretty good contact to have. So to close up, it's simple. Just make double opt-in introductions your standard. Sure, it takes some operational overhead to do this properly, but it's just not worth the risk. Final thing to note, don't make too many dodgy introductions, double opt-ins, because your friends still have to say no. Okay guys, that is a summary of the double opt-in email introductions. Hopefully you'll do them right. If you're a founder reaching out to investors, do this all the time. Seriously, okay? It's really not worth you burning that relationship if you have your investors. Okay, you're a startup founder, you're not the top of the hierarchy. The higher the quality of your contacts, the more judicious you need to be about them. It's really cool that you have these high quality people in your network, but 1, 2 bad introductions and they actually don't want to talk to you anymore. Is it really worth the perception of being a connected networker, super connector, to make that? No, just keep them to yourself. Only make those introductions if they add benefit and increase your social proof. Networking is like a social economy. You add social and you get social back. But it also works negatively. If you make them crappy, you decrease to the point where actually you can get kicked out. So there's upside gain, but fundamentally the downside is a lot bigger than your upside. You do need to play the game, but play it right. If you follow the basic rules, you're good.